It's Kim Beegler, owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am at home in the shop with a bunch of wool, and I'm going to talk about wool. Owning a wool mill, hand spinning yarn, knitting, so many making things. So welcome. I always like to start the episodes now by saying that Ewethful is an inclusive environment, meaning that all sexes, all gender identities, all skin colors, all of us are equal. We all belong here, and this is a safe place for all of us. So if that is your jam, welcome. Let's talk about some wool. So I have got, you can see I'm surrounded by wool. There's a lot of wool. This is like organization right now. Not skirted, but organized. And there's more underneath this skirting table, and there's a couple of bags here. But right now we're going to focus on this fleece that I just unboxed. So this is actually I ordered this from one of the farms that I follow online. I was really excited. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but you'll see it along the way. So later on I'll let you know. But it is for the majority of it, I should say, will be for my Shetland level patrons, where they occasionally get some fiber in the mail. And I saw this fleece and I was excited because it had lots of things. It's a crossbreed and it had lots of things that I love in it. So I have it laid out. It's a giant fleece and it's a natural colored gray, which I had forgotten. It's been sitting again in the box for so long that I had kind of forgotten. And we're gonna let you see this here a little bit more. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit more. We'll pull it out a little more. You know, if you're skirting at home, it doesn't have to be all laid out. You can do this in chunks. A lot of times I do stuff in small amounts. So as I go through, I'm looking at the edges here and it's a little bit more gunky. I'm going to pull just like the very edging off. What I kind of look for is if it's hard, if it looks kind of just, weathered like that, like there's been soiled on and stuff like that. Not that I won't wash stuff that's been soiled on, but it's a little bit more compacted and it's harder to pull apart. So that's kind of my line of where I start pulling. So I'm just kind of going to go around, and because this fleece is so big, I'm just going to do, and did I lose this? Oh no, that's from me skirting before. Sorry, looking at the ground. I'm going to fold this chunk back onto the skirting table, and I'm just going to go around and kind of pull some stuff apart. Make sure nothing is this is like going to be a very boring skirting, I think. And I will pull chunks. So see how I'm just, like when I get through with a chunk, I'm going to just pull that part. There's like no VM in this. Oh, it's really luscious. And so keep watching because I'll let you know what it is as we get a little bit further along with this fleece. I'm hoping to get this carded up and out to my patrons before I leave on vacation here soon. So I've got a chunk here. I'm going to give it a good and I love it when a fleece stays together enough that I can do this. I'm not even really seeing second cuts. So I'm going to take this and stick it back into the bag. And I probably could tell you what it is. My patrons they always kind of like to know. I try to keep things secret, and they're like, just tell us. So I'll let you know. This is, it kind of makes it more fun while we're skirting it. So this is a East Friesian Romney cross. And so the Romney is going to give it this length. I mean, let me pull this staple out, but it's got a pretty solid length to it. So we're looking at probably about 6 inches in the length. It's going to give it some of that luster. And the East Friesian is honestly just in here for fun. The East Friesian might give it a little bit more crimp. As a lot of you know, if you've been watching my big girls, as I call them, are East Friesian BFL crosses. So I just always think it's really fun to see different, I really like East Friesian as it is. And you can see this is like, it's all pulling apart really well. There's not much to do here. I'm going to give this chunk a shake and we'll toss it in the bag. This happens whenever I go to skirt with you all. There's not that much chunk. I'll have to find a really grubby fleece. I mean, the goal is to not have really grubby fleeces. So, and because this was sight unseen, but I have bought from this farm before. So, literally there is like no hay to this. And It's gorgeous. So I'm just going to keep pulling chunks, and then I'll pull this last big bit out. This is like the fastest skirt ever. But I am not seeing even any. I was like a little worried that maybe some of this was going to be cotted just because of the way it looked or kind of felted on the top, but that is not the case. These are the fleeces I live for. It's going to be easy to wash up. So if you haven't bought a fleece before, you know, East Friesians, Romneys, they are really easy fleeces to start with. They tend to be fairly low in lanolin, which makes it easier to wash. So I have a little bit over here, and I'll pull this over. And it's probably britch wool. Like this is a little compacted up, and it feels a little extra dry. Sometimes that's something I'm feeling out. So along here, it just isn't quite as, some of it feels a little extra crusty, which isn't always bad, but just given that if I can't separate it out, like if I have to like use might to separate wool, it's probably not going to wash out well. So look at this chunk. I got a big chunk all out on the ground. I'll be organized behind you here for a minute, and we'll finish up. So we'll lay out the last bit of this now. This is just, I don't remember how big it was. I honestly didn't even remember the color of it. Nothing. So I am thrilled. It's always a bit, and I'm going to show you some really nice staples here in a minute when I get to it, but it's always nice. It's not my favorite way to buy wool online, but when you get to know some of the wool that you're buying from, it gets safer. It feels safer. All right, let me show you a little bit of this. There's a nice chunk of lock. Look at from underneath here. Isn't that lovely? You can see that nice. Isn't that gorgeous? Gorgeous, gorgeous. For those of you that are listening, I'm just kind of showing some really nice locks. Nice, kind of a French fry-y crimp to it. So this is definitely heavy on the Romney, but it's not quite Romney. So you know that there is something else in there. And of course, you know, you never know how much. It could be 75% Romney, 25% East Friesian, who knows? But it's beautiful. And I think that my Shetlanders will love it. I certainly do, and there's a good amount of it. So I'm going to finish this up. And then actually, I have to run into the house. Sorry I didn't have my microphone. Most of the rest of this will have a microphone. So, but I just wanted to get this done because it's been sitting in the box. Here's a little chunk I'm pulling off. You can see it's just kind of a little bit matted up. I probably lost, I don't even know, maybe a couple ounces off of this fleece, which sometimes I've been skirting some small fleeces that I'm losing close to a pound on. So this was well skirted before it made its way to me. All right, you all, that was that. If you're skirting at home, you'll see how I do it. You can do this in small spaces. You don't have to have a giant skirting table to do this. You can do it in chunks. You can take it apart. It doesn't matter where the head is, where the head was anyway. None of that really matters. I think that's overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be that complicated. So I think the most of this is staying on. I might take a little chunk here just because it's not pulling as easily. That's it. Give it our last, not even a lot of second cuts. Gorgeous. Okay, you all, onward we shall go. Okay, we're at the mill now, and I wanted to show you because this is a great example of how different these fleeces are. So I'm at the picker and I am doing some Romney, and I'm going to hold it up here so you can see. And I think the biggest difference between this fleece and the fleece that we just saw that I was skirting is this has a bit more luster to it for sure. And although the other one had a nice luster, and you can see how separated out these locks are. And this has been washed, so it's all jumbled up, but you can still see like that good separation of lock structure. Now this fleece is a little bit shorter than your standard Romney because the shepherd I buy from tends to shear every 9 months or so, just given who she can collect in. So it doesn't get as long as Romney may. And that's one of the things in that other fleece we skirted, that the East Friesians don't put out a ton of wool. And so they're gonna help keep that Romney a little bit shorter in that cross, which is lovely because I don't want full length Romney a lot of the time. So I just wanted to show you how different this purebred Romney is to that cross that we were looking at, even though it does have a lot of Romney characteristics to it. So I brought it here, that fleece here. Maybe we'll wash it tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. No promises there. I'm gonna start the picker up here. And this was a 5-pound Romney fleece, which is very exciting. It's absolutely gorgeous with the different whites and grays throughout it. I mean, there are some parts that are really white. And this is all the same fleece. This isn't like fleeces that I combined, and then we have some really dark stuff. So really gorgeous. And this actually, I had an order come through. Joyce, if you're watching, this is gonna be coming your way. She ordered some Romney and it was time to card up a little bit more. So, and it was the perfect time color-wise in the picker to be going and carder-wise. So I thought I would just share this with you, and I can load this up pretty good. It's gonna get great separation through the picker. So it's a fast one. It's a fast pick. And like I said, this was about a 5-pound fleece, so pretty chunky. I debated not picking all of it now. I may not card it all now, depending on just where I'm at time-wise, but I will card enough that it'll be in the Patreon update, shop update that is coming this week for them. I think on Sunday, I said? I can't remember, Sunday or Saturday. It's in the Patreon feed. And so this will definitely make it there, and if there's some left, it'll make it to the website, which I would guess there will be some making it to the website, but you never know. It is really nice, and the handle of this fleece is gorgeous. So I thought, let's just pick it all now. I have 59% humidity in the building. It is a cooler morning. I have a little bit of wool on and a little coat on. It won't be on long. But like a cowl is always my place to start when it starts to get a little bit cooler in the mornings, especially. I throw a cowl on and that really keeps me warm. And then underneath I have a tank top on and I'm wearing a skirt because it's Oregon. And it's supposed to be, I think, close to 80 by the end of the day. So, okay, let me take you over to the other end and you can see. Hopefully I wasn't standing in your view that whole time. And you can watch it, lower you a little bit here, watch it come out. So it'll be a nice, you know, medium-ish gray when all is said and done and we get it through the carder. So I've got to finish carding up the rest of that Romney alpaca silk I was doing last episode, and then this will go up. And I'll condition this and then probably card it up tomorrow so I can get Joyce's order out the door. Hurrah! Okay, let's move on. My washer's about to buzz. All right, we are back at the washing machine and it just beeped for me, so I thought, let's go see what it looks like. So this is all Shetland and it's kind of interesting. 2 different sheep. And kind of on the, it's on the fine wool side. So here we are, this is the first fleece. And this fleece has a much more defined lock structure. And you can kind of see, like you can see the tips of all of those locks pretty clearly. And these fleeces have a lot more VM. And because it's a finer wool Shetland, and I'm noticing more that on these fleeces that have that really defined lock structure, that they are not dropping that VM as well as a lot of Shetland does. So we'll see how it goes as this progresses. There's a fair amount of VM in these fleeces, and I've tried to kind of, some spots I just had to get rid of. Other spots I'm hopeful that as I go through the process, quite a bit will drop out. But I'm doing just the same here, and I'm going to show you in a second. I'm going to get this one done, and then we'll cruise on to the next one. I did cold soak these because they were pretty Pacific Northwesty. Lots of dirt. And I see this string here. That's not gonna process. It's not really string. It was just kind of like worn wool. How's that? Sorry about that bump there, you all. So I'm just opening it up in between washes here. It's going to get one more wash, kind of doing any picking that I can do or pulling stuff, because like this, that's way too much VM. Because especially with white, it's like you wash it and then all of a sudden you're like, well, how in the heck could I have missed all that VM? It just pops up once you get more of that dirt out. So this fleece actually is not quite as VM-y as the one I did before it. And you can see like those tips that are they're just not going to clean out well. So I'm going to pull those. But most of this has cleaned up pretty well. And it'll get one more wash. But let me show you the next fleece. So this is a different fleece, same breeder. And look at, nope, we're going to yank that. It's basically VM and not wool. So I see one more spot. So here's another spot. We're just going to pull because no sense in having that. Okay, so now let's look at this fleece. Totally different. And this is more, I'd say, like what my fleeces look like. Much less defined lock structure. Of course, this was cold soaked in, but you can tell just by looking at it how different that is. Like it doesn't have that defined lock structure, significantly less VM. And the other fleeces, like I said, that had that defined lock structure had a lot of VM. And I think it was just because the wool is not letting it go. Like it's getting into those tighter lock structures and it's getting stuck. Whereas when it's a lot looser lock structure like this, the VM can find its way out just even on the sheep when the wind blows and all that stuff. So this fleece is night and day. And this is like much more an easier fleece to process. Obviously there's going to be a lot less VM. So anyway, I may end up dyeing. I'm going to do a little test run on the fleece I did before this. That was a lot higher. Just kind of didn't wash up as well as I might like. So I'm going to do a little test run on dyeing that one first to see if that it'll help take out a little more dirt. And, but we want it to not cause problems processing it down the road. So, okay, we're back. So you've kind of seen this before. So I'll keep going and we'll probably check up back in either, and some of this is darker wool. So that's why it looks a little bit, you're like, what is that? It's just darker wool. Anyway, we'll either go condition or I'll see you at the carder. All right, I know I said I'd have a microphone for all this, but for the rest of this episode, but I lied. Okay, I'm sorry, but I thought you would want to see this. I'm doing a little unboxing. This is more Shetland, and you all, I think the kits are canceled because I'm going to process this, and then I'm going to stay home forever and spin it. Look at that Shetland. Are you kidding? That is a color that is not very easy to get. And it is stunning fiber. I mean, look at these locks. Can you even? It's like this perfect cinnamon brown moorit. And I am in love. And that's all there is to say. So there's I think there's 4 fleeces in here. I'm going to skirt them out. I just can't. I can't believe that. And, we'll get moving. I just had a chicken pop up. See if we can see her. We can spot her. That's her. There she goes. She's one of my best layers. She comes all the way up the hill and she has this old litter box I don't think I think I bought it, to be clear. You can see there's a lot of litter boxes. That one I bought for them to nest in a million years ago, and they finally like found it when we put it out of commission. And so that's our spot. Anyway, back to the Shetland. I'm gonna do some quick skirting on these. So far, I don't even think this one will need to be cold soaked, but we'll see. So, and Cash is very interested. He's like, these are not my sheep. Okay, I'm doing a little dyeing, so we'll pop into the studio real quick so you can see too. All right, I thought I'd show you the next one. That was just a tiny bit. I don't know if that was a whole fleece. It might have been just a tiny, but this is probably more typical of a Shetland moorit fleece. So you can see that this is a little bit, which I haven't seen this in her sheep in a while, a little bit more double coated. So I'm gonna pull this one out and we'll see. So that's a bigger fleece here. And I'll toss it on the table so you can see it still. Woo! Gorgeous. Sorry, that was ugly maneuver. So there's this one, and also absolutely stunning. This color is just really gorgeous. I need to lock this in place. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit. Sorry, you all, I'm on my at-home tripod, and likely I won't edit that, so I apologize. I don't have time to film and do a lot of editing, so let me just plop this one out for you. That's definitely more of like the britch wool. That's not kind of her normal, but there you go. You can see. So this is pretty single coated also. She does, like I've mentioned before, fine wool Shetlands. And let me show you a chunk of this. Oof. Really beautiful stuff. Really beautiful. So we've got some moorit that will be available in the kits for the spin to knit along. I'm hoping that the kits will be available end of October. They'll go up for my Patreon, hopefully just after I get back. There's not going to be much skirting to do on this, I can tell you now. My Patreon subscribers will get kind of first dibs, and then there should be plenty more kits, because I know a lot of people have their own wool that they want to knit. I just thought it would be a fun thing to really organize myself. If I look at these fleeces, I just can't. This is why, and the worst of it is the belly wool, which isn't even bad. So this is why I ordered from her for sure. Okay, let's pop into the dye studio, because I have got actually some of her wool in the dye pot right now, and it's the second color I'm dyeing up for the kits. So let's go take a peek. All right, you all, let's pop into my studio here, which is a mess. It's a work in progress because I just got this beautiful desk and it triggered all sorts of extra cleaning. But look, here is our Shetland that we're dyeing up. Ooh, I'm excited. I wanted a nice gold, and I didn't want it to be too like bright yellow. And I think this is going to be exactly what I wanted. I did a little bit of color blending here and mix it up. You can see that's kind of because that was sitting on the bottom. So that's why we'll do a little mix up. It doesn't matter really, because this is all going to get blended up in the carder. So we're on the same spectrum, but we are going to just pull off. I got so excited. And this is pretty fine wool Shetland, so I don't want it to, we definitely don't want to get to the boil point. So we kind of gave it all just a nice easy turn. We'll let it keep going. I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's not quite giving the right color off there, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's dried up. Okay, I got to get going to the mill. All right, you all, we are back at the mill. We're all over the place. And actually, I'm going to weigh this fleece. Today, we're going to take a quick break and wash up 7 3/4 pounds. We're going to wash up this Romney East Friesian fleece that we skirted out earlier in the episode. And I decided to do this mainly because I didn't get anything cold soaking last night, and but I will definitely tonight because we have plenty to cold soak. I decided to go ahead. So obviously I am not cold soaking this fleece. because it just doesn't have a ton of dirt on it. This is not a Pacific Northwest fleece. This came from kind of the Midwest, I believe. I can't exactly remember which farm I got it from, but it's not Pacific Northwest, so it doesn't have that same dirt buildup that we get here so well, mud and crust and all of that stuff. So I did not cold soak this. And I did decide those Shetland fleeces that we just looked at, I was going to skip cold soaking the brown, but I decided not to because you know what? It's just that those darker fleeces are really good at hiding dirt. So just because I feel like it's not as dirty doesn't mean it's not as dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and cold soak those and get those started up. So here's a little chunk I'm going to pull just because I can't separate it out well. So as I'm at the washer, you'll see even with this fleece, I am opening it up. And it does help you catch some spots where you're like, ooh, that's not opening very well. I probably don't need to throw felted wool into the washing machine. And I want to get down to where I have about 4 pounds left in the bag. That's about what I'm going to scour today. Kind of split it up. And oh, it's so pretty. I just am so excited about this. It's going to be a great fleece to spin. Also a great fleece to process. So maybe I'll get to spin some of it. Okay, so anyway, that's all. This is on the agenda today. This is kind of the last for this week. And then I am going to get that Romney on the carter so that Joyce can get her order. I can get Joyce's order in the mail today because I'm sure she would love to get it. I'm usually pretty quick about getting orders out. Usually I like to get them out. I used to be at the mill every single day basically, and I'm not so much anymore. So if there's a delay in getting an order out, generally speaking, it's because I'm just not going to be at the mill for a couple days. And I have decided that most of us can wait an extra day or two to get that fiber. And if not, somebody can always message me and say, I cannot wait. Can you get it out fast? So, okay, I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to get the washer started. I'll let you see it when I go push it down, when the beeper times on me, and then we'll head to the carter. All right, the time has come. The beeper is going, meaning it is time to open her up and push some wool down. So you can see how it just does a little rotation while the machine is scouring. And it's just nice and slow and gentle, so the wool's not really moving around much. Everything's just kind of rotating like that. The wool's not moving much, the water's not moving much, so that's how you kind of avoid that felting that people worry so much about. When you get hot water and agitation is when you can really felt up your wool, be it in this form or as a sweater. Or if you're trying to dye up top or roving, if you boil your water, you run the risk of getting a lot more felting. So everything's pushed down now, but you can see that water is not that dirty, and I didn't need to cold soak it. It was well done. Okay, let's head to the carter. Okay, it is time to cart up that Romney. So we have got about 5 pounds of Romney back here. I just conditioned it, and then I store it back here in the picker overnight, and we are ready to rumble. I'm gonna shut the door. Just a little bit of air coming in from outside right there is messing up my humidity a little bit. So we're still over 50%. I'm just behind you for just a sec, doing some quick weighing. So we're gonna set this up, and I just ran the machine, got the last of the Romney alpaca silk out of there that was in there. So now we are ready to get rolling. I know this microphone like pulls my shirt down a little bit. It's all good, you all. I have a sports bra on, so we're safe. We're safe. We don't want to get YouTube mad, do we? Okay. So I'm just measuring out over here. I'm gonna run this a little bit heavier because it's a little bit shorter, and I just wanna make sure there's enough fiber that it stays together well through to get to the roving deck is always the challenge. Not always, I should say. With shorter fibers or really slick fibers, like a couple years ago, I did, for when I had my fiber subscription club, I did Gotland. And I haven't done Gotland since, I'll tell you that. It's a beautiful, beautiful wool, but processing it is, it's so slick. It's kind of like processing mohair. If you're trying to get it into roving, it's just not the greatest. It doesn't want to stay together enough to get to roving. So anyway, I took a little break from Gotland after that. I would do it again. I would do it again now, but okay. So we have got this set up. We're going to hit the go button. Sorry, I'm hitting the go button on the phone. Oh my goodness. What a day. Let's hit the go button and let it start rolling. Let you see as it starts going. I'm just going to weigh out a little bit more behind you here. And we'll go take a peek on the end here in a minute. We're waiting for it just to, so you can see that I'm here. We're just waiting for it, and there's my buzzer on the washer. First wash done on that East Friesian Romney cross. Hooray! I will, of course, I don't think you'll see it dry this week, but I'll let you see it dry next week. All right, let's go see what we've got going down here. Oh yeah, we're coming off good. So you can see it dropping off. So I'm gonna try to stop. It's actually staticking a little bit to the back of the machine. So I'm just gonna make a little bundle. We'll see if it will stay together. Stay, stay, stay. See how it's trying to drop there. And I'm gonna pull this up and this will go back in, and that is what we will feed in. And we're definitely getting a little static off of there today. Okay, now it's time to feed it into the roving deck, and from there, we'll do some extra carding. Okay, that wool in the washer is wild, Jewel. It's just wild. Okay, I'll let you see. Probably you'd get a good idea after it's out of the washer, but it just is a whole different beast from post-washing it. You can tell how different it is than just if it were Romney. So anyway, okay, so I have just rolled in my hook. I am going to, and you can see it's like, this is having a little more difficulty staying together because it's a little bit shorter than the usual Romney, and it's a little bit slick. It's a really nice handle fleece, and make sure we got enough on there that it stays on the hook. And go ahead and move you guys out of the way. Apologies for all the shaking. I feel like I've done that a lot in this episode. Get this closed up and we'll see if we manage to pull it off. That we've got this ready to go. All right. Let's see, I'm gonna lower you way down. There we go. Let's see what we've done here. Machine on. It looks good. Woo. Thought we were gonna lose it for a minute there, but we've got it. There it comes. And remember, this is that fleece that was all different colored Romney, and it's already super built up. So I'm going to just plop it in. And there it is. Hurrah! Let's go take a peek. Make sure I have enough on the belt. Actually, let's feed the belt a little bit more. Okay, belt is fed. Let's take a peek inside. Trying not to do what I've done in the past and pull that out too much because it affects my cord, my plug. So there we go. Let's go take a peek on the other side. So we'll have a fair amount of Romney here, and I imagine some will make its way onto the website. There it is coming out, going into the bin. All right, let's go do some spinning and chatting. All right, you all, we are here at the Lendrum spinning wheel, and this wheel is for sale. It's still sitting here for sale. It's a single treadle Lendrum, and if anybody's interested, I have it listed at a decent price, so let me know. So, and I need to have it, this is that wheel that I don't use very often, so I always am kind of a little jumpy at it. Okay, a little more. I want it to take up a little more, so we're going to increase the tension on the drive band there. And I have a chair here because I knew Wish would want to come and sit. And so here we are. Okay, everybody, I've got the Romney, I'm at the Lendrum, we're spinning away. Wish is coming to say hello, and it is time for a soapbox, right? You will see that I am spinning this short forward, just because why not? And I don't know if I've ever completed a project of just 100% Romney, but one of these days, this wool is gonna get me. I've done lots of blends, but I don't think I've done 100% Romney. Anyway, let's soapbox, shall we? And there's so much, it's hard to stay focused and it's hard to keep the energy up, but we must, right? And part of the strategy here is that they, and by they, I do not mean the average everyday citizen who even voted for Trump or believes in Trump right now. By they, I mean the administration. It's just the distraction, the exhaustion, all of the things, that's part of the strategy. So we have to just keep powering on. And this week, I wanted to start with a super positive. Well, it's not positive what happened, right? With Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air indefinitely. What was positive was the outpour of American citizens, or citizens all over, right, who pulled their subscriptions from Disney and Hulu. We were among them. You guys, I haven't even finished. We haven't actually started the new season of Only Murders, so I'm a little heartbroken about that. And no, we did not just jump back in and resubscribe now that he is back. We're going to wait that out, I think. To me, it's still the principle of the matter. So anyway, it came down to freedom of speech, right? And censorship. And that was what the main issue was here. And I was so excited to see that there was such a clear way that our money, and that is like all of us that are not billionaires, millionaires, extremely wealthy, the way that we were able to show that our money does count in this country. And in a matter of like 2 days, they had lost like $6 billion between cancellations of subscriptions, cancellations of cruises, cancellations of memberships to the parks, and people asking for refunds. It was amazing to watch, and I was so proud of our country. And it just sends a message, right? It sends a message that we are serious, we are unhappy, and that we do have power. So I think it sent a message not only to politicians, to big companies, but to other people in this country that think that maybe they don't have any say, and we absolutely still do. So hurrah for that plus, and glad to see that Jimmy Kimmel was back. I watched most of last night on YouTube, and thought he did a really nice job. Thought he did a really nice job on a lot of different levels. So I think let's stay on the positive, right? There are cracks happening. There are cracks happening in the administration, in the base, in the following of Trump that are starting to be really clear, right? We know that Epstein, let's never forget that, for all the women that were involved in that were abused, they need to have justice. So, and that seems to still be going, right? And it's causing a crack in the base of the Trump administration, the followers, that is. And there is also a lot of Christians that are looking at this and saying, hey, wait, not only are we not supposed to hate our enemies, and at least don't verbalize it, but also we shouldn't be idolizing this person. This is just like a person. A politician is not somebody that should be idolized and taken for whatever they say, right? And of course, there's the
the big, which is all that's going on with the Health and Human Services, with the CDC, with vaccines, with this new absurdity about Tylenol, which I find it interesting that we use, you know, that women yet again are attacked, are being expected to, for no scientific reason, and for as much as we can tell, because our administration thinks it is correct that Tylenol causes autism, that there are links to it, women are to suffer again. So women are to bear the brunt of pain, of fever, so that basically for no reason, because it's absurdity, right? There's not even a point in talking about that. But the attack on women yet again. And it's so interesting. I think, what is this huge sort of fascination, or I don't know what it is, by this administration with autism? And it's not to downplay the importance of understanding autism. It's why is this their thing to stand on, or Kennedy's thing to stand on, especially without any scientific research, when the scientific research is being done. And let's face it, like autism, I was kind of looking up the history of autism, and it wasn't until I think the early 1900s that a name was put to this, but that would be in a very small circle, right? And then it was, I'm looking at notes because I would never remember this, it was in the 40s, 1940s, is when this actually, autism became a little bit more of something to be studied, again, in super small circles. 60s started getting a little traction and ground at the understanding of it. The 70s is when the spectrum disorders was first come up with. And I think that it was like the 90s before you really start to see visibility of autism. And let's face it, honestly, even into the 2000s, probably within the last 5 to 10 years, if you don't know somebody specifically who is autistic, you probably would never have really heard of it, right? It wouldn't be in your world, but it's as more research comes out, it's as more understanding comes out, it's as all of these things happen that we now know more about it. So is it that all of these things that are claiming by the administration that cause autism, is it that, or is it actually that it's just that this was not understood nor diagnosed? Big truck, or not even a big truck. Anyway, it's just very frustrating. And I know on so many levels, this is frustrating, not only this subject, but vaccines, the kerfluffle over it, the misinformation, these poor pregnant women that are now, that if they aren't getting enough good news or information, they're not understanding what is safe for them or their baby. When it comes to vaccines, when it comes to Thailand, it's all just infuriating. So this could be one of those big things that breaks the camel's back, right? Suppose, as they say, the cracks are happening. That is my point. So stay strong, everybody. Keep speaking up. Keep putting pressure on, keep being mindful of where you spend your money, because it is making a difference, and we saw it really hard over the last week. And October 18th is the next big No Kings demonstration, march. Get out there if you can, if you feel safe, if you're in a place where all of those things line up and you have the time. So October 18th, mark your calendar. Everybody, thank you so much for listening here. I always love to hear your comments on this. It's hard, it's really hard and embarrassing, and we're all feeling a lot of feelings about it. There you go. There's the soapbox for this week. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I have a website, ewethfulfiberfarm.com. You can go to, you can sign up for the newsletter. I have a Patreon community that is amazing and wonderful, and you can subscribe there to help support what I do here. I do not monetize this channel on YouTube, so I do not make any money from the videos that I make for this channel and hopefully the education I provide. So Patreon is a great place to support me there. Also, something exciting, I am starting a new segment. It'll be in a separate video, maybe once a month or so, where I am going to visit other makers in the community's spaces. So I'm going to their spaces. I'm awkwardly asking them to let me into their homes or their making spaces, wherever that may be, and show me around. And also then we sit down and we have a little knit and chat, or just chat, and maybe they knit and I chat, whatever it may be. But I'm hoping the first one will come out this week. And I had so much fun doing it. I think Amy, who was the first person I have interviewed for this, and visited her space, and I came away with so many little nuggets of ideas and just inspiration. So, and ways to organize. So watch for that. It should be on this channel, and I'm excited for it, and I hope you all are too. So until next week, thank you all so much for staying to the end. I truly appreciate you. Be kind to your neighbors. Oh my goodness, it is not them versus us. We are all in this together. And one of the hard things to watch is just the complete and utter disrespect that's going on in Congress, in hearings, between politicians, and between everyday citizens, much less the violence. And it's just, it doesn't get us anywhere. And it's just showing Americans how, maybe not how they should react, but how apparently this administration feels it's okay to respond. So, and it's not just one side, but just remember, be kind to your neighbor. You don't know what they've been through. Just because our administration is showing zero empathy doesn't mean we all can't be and do better. Stay healthy. Oh my gosh. All these little things I used to say now have like an entire paragraph behind them. It's absurd. Get your vaccines if you can. I know it is challenging, but get what you can while you can. And make so many pretty things. That one stays strong. Make so many pretty things. Until I see you next time, thank you so much for watching. I did not spin very well, but thank you so much, everybody. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and head over to the Ewethful Patreon community if you can. It is appreciated. Take care, everybody.